Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned the truth from and knew well. Bees had tasted 144,000, and the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude, unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And the title for this was going to be America, aka Babylon the Great, is on its last leg. And who is mystery Babylon that the scriptures speak about is America, what we know today as the United States of America, which the Bible speaks of known as Babylon the Great, because in its time of rulership, America, Babylon the Great, has pretty much taken over the whole world by his military, his image of the beast, his currency, also known as the U.S. dollar, because the U.S. dollar isn't backed up by anything but by the military. So pretty much just like Rome fell back in the day, it was cutting, it was chipping its currency to increase it, in quantity, but the quality was going down. Same thing that's going on today. You got the mass printing of money, which is driving inflation to record high numbers. And eventually the US dollar is going to collapse. And the only thing that the United States is going to left to do is go to war with the rest of these countries, because we see that Donald Trump is imposing all these different tariffs on these other countries. They're going to eventually make the beast hate the whore. And the beast that's spoken about in Revelation chapter 17 with the 10 horns, that's going into the EU, the European Union, and the NATO, because Trump is imposing all these tariffs on France, on Germany, and all these different countries that are eventually going to turn its back on America. And the end of America is going to be that lake of fire, that destruction, that intercontinental ballistic missiles, because America has done nothing but cause destruction throughout the earth by its way of his wine, his philosophies, pushed out the alphabet agenda throughout the four corners of the earth. The feminism, its currency, its way of life, fast food, pretty much pushed it out throughout the four corners of the earth. And now that the countries have woken up to the madness of Babylon the Great, America, now they're all forsaking this place. Everybody's going into their own countries. They're starting to not use, or they're stopping using the U.S. dollar, because it's pretty much backed up by anything. That's why every country is starting to use their own currency. You got the BRICS that was formed to combat the U.S. dollar, because this system that the U.S. uses is a credit-based system that pretty much is backed up by anything. That's why it isn't backed up by anything. That's why it is $36 trillion in debt, which is never going to recover. And the only thing that the U.S. is going to, or the only choice that the U.S. is going to have is go to war with these other countries. It's going to lead to that Third World War, the Battle of Armageddon, and eventually all these different countries shooting missiles over here to the soils of Babylon to finally destroy it and bring the kingdom of Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, down. This is Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's hand. that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken over wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. And America has gone out throughout every country, or almost every country, because now it's trying to get to Russia and China, try to get on their resources, but they're not letting themselves, just get touched completely by America. That's why you have the war in Ukraine, Ukraine versus Russia. You got the war, or you got China wanting to invade Taiwan because the U.S., the United States of America, has gone out throughout the four corners of the earth, establishing their military bases, establishing their embassies, and establishing their way of life. The U.S. dollar, is Western mindset, feminism, the alphabet agenda, black culture, all sorts of madness that has gone out throughout the four corners of the earth. And now that they realized what they've gotten themselves into, that philosophy, that wine has worn off. Now they're aware of what America has done, and now they're mad. Now they're gonna turn their backs against this whore, America. Verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her to take balm for her pain? If so, she may be healed. And Babylon's not going to be healed. Just like you got Trump trying to make America great again, MAGA, it is not going to go back to his glory days like back in the 50s and the 60s. Ever since the Israelites came into the scene, the kingdom of Esau, Edom, has been collapsing. And if it's been collapsing since the late 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, how much more now in 2025? We see that this place is on its last leg. We see the economy collapsing. Us that are in this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But the rest of our people, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, and these heathens, they don't see it completely that this place is done. They're hoping that it's going to be another recession, like back in 2008, and then it's somehow going to bounce back. But no, once this place completely collapses, that's it. It's only going to lead to that third world war, the mass implementation of the MOTB, Jacob's Trouble, and eventually the destruction of this place is going to be utterly destroyed, going to be utterly wasted by the way of the intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's going to lead to that lake of fire for all the wickedness that America has done. Because the punishment for a whore is to get put to death, to get burned up. And that's going to be the end of America. Verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. So that's the Lord being sarcastic. That he could have healed Babylon, but it's not gonna be healed. This place is gonna be destroyed by the way of fire. But first, it's gonna be plagued by different events. You have natural disasters going out throughout America. You got floods, you got tornadoes, hurricanes, and even earthquakes, hitting in diverse places. You got wildfires, you got pestilences hitting, you got famines. And these are all signs that this place is collapsing. Just like back in Egypt, you had Egypt being plague after plague. Then eventually it is downfall. The Israelites making their exodus, out of Egypt, and eventually Egypt fell. Because it's going to be the same thing. Where we're going to have the second exodus, the elect, Lord willing, we're a part of that number, get delivered out of here by the way of the chariots. Because that's the only way out. There's no other way out of here. You can't physically hide in a bunker or hope that once the missiles hit that you just come out your bunker here in America. No, this place is going to be utterly wasted. It's not going to be healed. This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 14. The Lord, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggered in his vomit. And there's a very perverse spirit right here in the souls of America. Everybody's, or 2/3 of the nation of Israel and the heathens, they're pretty much bugged out. They have that cold spirit on them, pretty much ready to crash out at any given moment, because they see that this place is collapsing. So they're gonna go all out in their wickedness. 2/3 of the nation of Israel, they're just waxing worse and worse and worse, finding new ways to be wicked every day. And these heathens as well, especially these Edomites. These Edomites are stocking up on ammo, on guns, because they know that this place is collapsing, and they're going to try to defend it. But 2/3 of the nation of Israel, they're completely clueless to what's going on. That's why they're going to get taken away, because of their wickedness. Being moles, being alphabet agenda people, being feminists, being lesbians, being YNs, black culture, deleting them, deleting each other every other day, pretty much just being crash outs. That's why Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is going to have to destroy 2/3 of our people right here in the souls of America. A lot of them are going to get put to deaths in the street. Some of them are going to get sent to World War III and get destroyed by Yahweh Shai when he makes his return. And eventually those who make it out of the famine, out of the World War III, they're going to receive the missiles. That's going to be their in judgment for being wicked. This is verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing all these mass layoffs. We're seeing people getting fired left and right. We're seeing that there's no new jobs being created. Pretty much everything's stagnant. And eventually it's going to get to the point, or it's getting to that point where, that stagnant is gonna go down. We see the stock market crashing, because of Donald Trump imposing all these tariffs on these countries. And all that's going to lead to, that economical collapse, which is going to lead America to go to World War III. Implement that MOTB as a solution for this system collapsing. But 2/3 of our people are still very comfortable, that they see that they can still, afford groceries or still go to the club and pop bottles. But that's when they shall say peace and safety, that's why a lot of our people are still comfortable, because they can still go out to the clubs and go out, and be, degenerates. But that's how Bashmiel Shai put in that snare and trap on them. This is 2 Ezra 16 and verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Verse 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that shall escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So right now, victuals, and that the resources, food, water, shelter, they're still somewhat affordable. But it's going to get to the point where Esau Edom, or it's getting to that point where Esau Edom is putting that squeeze upon the people, and they're starting to feel it. He's starting to cut off that the government assistance, Section 8, the veterans, of retirement funding, the funding they get after they retire, that's being cut off. You got Section 8 being cut off, food stamps. These are all signs that the victuals, the food, the staff of bread of Egypt is going to be broken. And then that's when people are finally going to lose it. They don't have any food, any water, any shelter. You take away their bread and circus, the people are going to be pretty much bugged the hell out of their mind. There's going to be that great confusion, because they're going to be famine. There's not going to be any grocery stores, with food in them. They're going to get wiped out. These pharmacies. What's the two main places that always get raided during societal collapse in the movies? Is the pharmacies and the liquor stores. These are the first places that people are going to be running off to, and the grocery stores. And a lot of people, they're going to get put to death, because they're going to go and gather up food, and there's going to be people waiting outside for them, and putting them to death, and then taking their food. It's going to be all hell breaking loose. But a lot of our people, they're comfortable right now. That's why it's going to catch them like a thief in the night. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the full storehouses, that's going into the grocery stores, the Costco's, the Sam's Clubs. But eventually, they're all going to be wiped clean. There's not going to be any food in the grocery stores. There's not going to be any food out here in the farms. It's all going to get wiped clean. And eventually it's going to get to the point where there's not going to be any food. And that's going to lead to people, going from house to house looking for food. People getting put to death left and right. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So right now, Trump is promising peace and safety, that he's going to cease fire with all these different countries. But we're seeing that's not really happening, that he's stirring up all these different countries, Iran, Russia, China. But a lot of our people think that World War III is never going to pop off like completely and go nuclear, but it is. That's going to be the end of America. Is going to be those intercontinental ballistic missiles. All these different countries pressing the button and shooting missiles over here. But a lot of our people, they're not expecting it because they're comfortable. They're in their constellation right now. That's why they're not expecting it to happen. Because a lot of Jake is doing pretty well off for themselves. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and elements shall melt with a fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. So 2/3 of the nation of Israel and these heathens, they're not expecting America to be destroyed. They're not expecting Yahweh Shai to make his return in this generation. But that's why it's going to come like a thief in the night. They're not going to be watching. They're not worried about Yahweh Shai's return. They're not worried about America collapsing. The only ones who are worried about this place collapsing and being delivered out of here are going to be the elect. The rest of our people, they're going to be settled on their leads, comfortable, going to the clubs, eating, marrying, drinking. But all that's going to be burned up, when Yahweh Shai makes his return and these countries shoot missiles over here. Verse 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So we know that this is happening. So what is our conduct, or what should our conduct be in, or be? Reading, praying, fasting, showing charity to brothers, and praying for this place to fall, because we don't want to be here for another 5, 10, 15, 40, 50 years, 1,000 years. That's something that the 2/3 of the nation of Israel want. They wanted to continue to hear. They wanted to continue to live that YOLO, you only live once lifestyle. They want to continue to be Mo's and BYNs and indulge in black culture, all sorts of madness. Verse 12, looking forward and hasting unto the coming day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat. So we're hastening the day of Yahweh Shai. We're hastening the day that Yahweh Shai makes his return, so we can be delivered out of America, be changed to those new bodies. That's what we're looking forward to. We're not looking for America to be healed and be made great again, like Trump is saying. Because this place is going to be burned up by those missiles, those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Verse 13, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's right. We're looking for the kingdom of heaven being established on the planet Earth. You know, when Yahushua makes his return, you know, he brings his devil completely down to the dust. Finally, you know, we put this devil in captivity. We get the new bodies with the law, statutes, and commandments written in our inward parts, never to go off again. But that's something that 2/3 of the nation of Israel, they're not looking forward to that. They're looking forward for America to be healed. You know, the chicken wings go back to 50 pounds of chicken wings going back to $10. They're looking for gas to go back to 150. You know, they're looking forward to vain things that isn't going to benefit them in the long run. The only thing that's going to benefit the nation of Israel is going to be the kingdom of heaven being established upon the planet Earth. The rest of the things here in America, they're all vain. They're all polluted. They're all corrupted. The air is polluted. The water's contaminated. The foods are all GMOs. You know, we know these things, and therefore we're looking forward to a new earth, you know, where righteousness is going to dwell, where the law, statutes, commandments are going to be pushed out throughout the four corners of the earth, where we're going to have the heathens under subjection, where we're going to never go off, never sin. And if we never sin, that's going to lead to immortality, because the wages of sin are death. But only the elect are going to look forward to these things and look forward to the downfall of America. The rest of our people, they wanted to continue here in America and be here forever if you will let them. But that's not going to be the case, because America is on its last leg. We see that this place is collapsing. We see that the economy is collapsing. Us that are in the know, us that are in this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that was given on by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that was given the eye salve, that was given the Rakakodash to see the things that are happening upon the planet Earth. You know, but that's pretty much the point. I pray this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone, who all learned this truth from and well. Peace, salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the 1/3, the large multitude. Unto you I say shalom.